Joining us from Capitol Hill now is Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania. He has been leading the Republican effort to rebuild infrastructure, specifically roads and bridges. He introduced a bill last year, and Congressman Kelly joining us now. And Congressman, sir, before we get to infrastructure, I need to ask you about that tragic train wreck in Virginia. Have you heard whether or not that GOP retreat will indeed go forward?
Yes, it's going to go forward. The members on the people on the train, the members on the train are going to go back to Charlottesville. They're going to go by bus then to the Greenbrier. But you know, Ryan, what I have been most impressed with, I was not able to go on the train this morning because I had so much work left to do before I could leave the office. My phone has been lighting up with friends from back home saying, are you on the train? Are you okay? Is everybody else okay? And I think when things like this happen, we really start to think of ourselves, not as Republicans or Democrats or independents, but as Americans. And when something tragic happens, we're concerned for the American people and anybody that's on the train. We pray for them, and we just hope that as time goes on, we're able to figure this out. One of the people on the truck apparently was killed, but I think all our members are okay.
Well said, sir. We appreciate that. All right, let's move on now to why you are here, which is infrastructure. You and I have spoken extensively on this topic in the past. Here's the thing, and I don't want to get too in the weeds, but it isn't important, especially for the CNBC audience. Part of your bill wants to create a new type of PAB, public activity bond. However, in the tax bill, many of your GOP congressmen tried to kill PABs, public activity bonds. Have you been able to convince your colleagues, specifically on Ways and Means, that PABs are indeed the way to go?
You know, absolutely. And, you know, one of the benefits we had was to work through the Tax Cuts and Jobs bill, and a lot of the internal conversation that went back and forth between Ways and Means members were looking to each person's talents and their backgrounds and let them weigh in on what their experience was, because some people have never experienced that before. So this just doesn't seem to make sense for you. Now, you know, I'm an automobile guy, I'm in sales. I always would point out features and benefits that add value, and when you look at that, private activity bonds, that's something that works in a lot of cases and something that the American people can participate in. There's nothing like it that I've seen to date. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat. It is an American issue. We have got to rebuild our infrastructure.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the Democrats believe that private bills and private bonds should not be substitutes for federal funding. I don't know if you're going to need any Democrats on this at all. I mean, I know that there's been a few like John Delaney, who we've interviewed, who wants infrastructure done, albeit slightly in a different way. How do you convince anybody that private money is good and can be leveraged on?
Well, you know what? The bill that I'm doing, the Public Buildings Renewal Act, is with Earl Blumenauer. We've been on the show before with you. I think it's understanding exactly what it is that we're trying to do. There is no one size that fits all. In some cases, the PABs, the activity of the private activity bonds would be a great feature. But the president said very clearly last night, federal funds, state funds, and private activity. That's what we're going to have to combine. This is going to be a big lift for all of America.
Kayla reported that she's heard from the president's advisors that he doubts the effectiveness of public-private partnerships. Have you heard that, and do you doubt their effectiveness?
No, you know, I have talked to the president about this, and I've been in situations where we talked. Reed Cordish, of course, I talked with him privately a couple of times. I think the president talks about things, and he says, what's in the best interest of the American people? So he wants to make sure that if we're asking people to invest, that we're giving them a return on that investment. You know, listen, the Public Renewals Building Act that we talked about, that's 32,000 jobs. That's $8 billion in real GDP. Now, the big part of that, and I keep telling people all the time, if you're worried about Social Security, we got to get more people in the workforce, because you know, and I know, that's 6.2% by the employer, 6.2% by the associates. It's 12.4% revenue on their salaries that goes into the Social Security fund. So it's a win-win-win. It's a win for taxpayers. It's a win for people who use our roads, our rivers, our runways, and our railways. It just is a win right across the board, and more important than anything else.
Are the GOP alliance, sir, do they have the appetite to really get a bill done?
You know what? I think anybody has the appetite once you explain to them what's on the menu, and when you say to them, this is what's going to happen. And here's, listen, coming from the private sector, I would have people in the dealership come to me all the time, so listen, we have to buy this or we'd have to buy that. And I said, okay, as long as it kills more than it eats. And they'd look at me, and what I said, this is what I mean. If it brings in more revenue and increases our ability to stay competitive, and it will pay for the loan or the money that I have to spend, I'm all for it. Just bring me things that have a positive effect. This will have a positive effect on our economy. And again, jobs, 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 and more jobs. And I think the big thing is, for me, I'm in sales. I've got to sell all the features and benefits that add value to every single American.
I couldn't tell you were a salesman, Congressman. I mean, it would just, you know,
Cadillac
not
and
your style,
you're
forget
good
it.
at it.
Thank you so much.
Cadillac in every driveway,
That's
Congressman.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless.